Hello, hello, and welcome to episode 83 of the Great Canadian Hockey Podcast. I'm James Parsi here with my co-host Aiden Sarah, and round one of the playoffs are buzzing. Admittedly, a bit overwhelming. It's very hard to keep up with two to three very, very big hockey games every day. I managed to catch about one and a half to two games a night. So that usually leaves the other one being a box score and Twitter describer for me. But I'm here, sitting here, hoping that Aiden, my fabulous co-host, has paid very close attention to the ones that I haven't. I'm looking at you, Vegas, Minnesota.
Yeah, that's fair. And you know what? If there was gonna be one to just kind of like, whatever, I guess it would be
Yeah.
Vegas, Minnesota. Carolina, New Jersey would be up there too, but
Oh, yeah,
that
yeah. I
series is
have,
already done.
yeah, yeah, exactly. I didn't pay attention to that one very much because I knew it was going to be done.
I think I
Demise
did
scored an
have.
OT winner, and then they eventually lost. Freddie Anderson got injured. Is that our whole rundown on that one?
It might be. Well, Sebastian Aho. If we're gonna start with Carolina, Jersey, we can. But I gotta ask James, like, we're only 80 seconds into this, so we can come back to Jersey, Carolina in a
Yeah.
bit. But I wanna run down how's the. You know what? I always know that, or sorry, always know as if like you've been doing this for years. I know that last year when you went to Coachella, the next couple of weeks were just like so it
Mhm.
was so obvious that you had been at Coachella and you were no longer at Coachella. Just
Mhm.
you're just the way you were. So has this been another hard stretch of a couple weeks since like the peak that was that music festival for you?
You know what? I've tried to fill it with some fun here and there while limping my way through work, and like I really mean limping. Like my feet are not happy. I walked about 110,000 steps in 3 days at Coachella, but I went out with some of my buddies on Saturday. We went to sick restaurant called Parker Rooftop. It's at the top of the Parker Hotel, right across the Granville Street Bridge, I believe. Awesome, sick spot. It's more of a lounge kind of vibe. And then we went and shot some pool at Soho Bar and Billiards, also a sick spot. If you're ever grabbing dinner and drinks with your buddies in Yaletown, you find yourself a little bit pinned and you don't know what to do with yourself and you're not feeling a club, you walk about a block and a half away, go to Soho, and you get cheap pitchers of beer and play unlimited rounds of pool for 90 minutes to 2 hours, depending on how busy they are, for the cheap price of $20. It's fantastic. But Aiden, to actually answer your question, I'm mentally gassed.
Well,
Just gassed.
and
Like, empty.
that might be why that watching these playoff games doesn't isn't something you're super motivated to do because if you
It
weren't
doesn't fill the
so
tank. It does
no.
not refill you back up, especially when your team is getting curb stomped every time you watch them.
I was about to say that the uncertainty and the frustration from that Colorado Dallas series must be
Ugh.
significantly weighing on you. We can get there if you want, but
Um,
indeed,
Before we do, just to touch on something Aiden and I were talking about before we hit record, I unfortunately, this is like somewhat related to what we were just talking about. I unfortunately feel like we as a people peaked technologically when the biggest social media platforms were Friendster, Napster, MySpace, and MSN. I only say Friendster and Napster because I think those were like a big thing. It was like music sharing or something like that. Something stupid that doesn't exist anymore. But the point is, it was simple. And social media is one of the things I find very, very exhausting this time of year. To the point where I've seen my screen time outside of two apps drop like probably to the lowest I've seen it in years. Um, if you're feeling a little exhausted, just tap out of that stuff for a bit. Highly recommend. Very highly recommend.
go to
Yeah, I'm still using
Spotify,
it.
guys. There's always new music. There's no
Yeah,
way that you aren't gonna find music you haven't heard before.
yeah. Go find, yeah, spend your screen time finding some new tunes. Just like leave the social part alone for a couple hours. Highly recommend. But Aiden, do you have anything new for us at all in your life?
No, transitioning from Red Deer to the Fraser Valley area is always part of the springtime when the hockey season ends for me out there. But for the last few years, it's been coming back to playoff hockey. We've got a lot of great, great hockey so far, James. And again, it's been a bummer that you, and then even to an extent, I haven't been as religiously watching this as even the hockey has deserved to be watched, man.
Oh, it's
Because,
been amazing, and
yeah,
I feel like I'm committing a crime by not watching it all.
yeah. Like even last night, you had four really good games. If I'm Toronto, man, I'm not just sweating. I thought they were going to win that series in five. When Sanderson won it in game four, I was still confident they were going to win that series. Um, all of a sudden, they're facing down a game six away from home.
We
Um,
starting with Toronto and Ottawa. This is where we're going.
well, I was just thinking about yesterday, and I was going to start with Carolina winning the series, but we can start with yesterday's games. The first game yesterday was Ottawa Toronto.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, let's get into where we are now with this. Toronto won the first three games of the series, two of them in overtime, so it's not as if they had trounced through the Senators in the first three games of the series. Ottawa gets their moment in overtime. Sanderson extends the series, and then Shabbat, Cousins, Stutzla, and Brady Tkachuk, the big guns, do the damage for Ottawa to keep them alive. 4-0 win in Toronto yesterday in Game 5. So by the time that you're all listening to this, um, we are going to be Thursday, the 1st of May. Happy May is when it's coming out. So whether it's an early Happy May or a few days into May that you're hearing the Happy May, Toronto and Ottawa's series continues on Thursday the 1st at 4 o'clock here in the Pacific time zone. So, James, this game six in Ottawa, like, are we looking at this and saying Toronto loses this game and they're in some serious, serious trouble? Because I'm already feeling like that, but I want to know if that's just me. Maybe,
No,
like,
no, no, no. It's a legit worry.
yeah,
And I say worry because I think both of us picked Toronto going all the way to the finals.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and again, dude, I said this last time when we went through the whole bracket. I am so thoroughly, and it was almost comedy before, man. But I am just so thoroughly unimpressed in the way Austin Matthews plays hockey when it matters. Like, and I know that that's gonna come off as harsh. He was good in the Four Nations. He had those chances in the final. Like, but every
He
time
just
his
did a
team,
post yesterday.
yeah, every time his team is here, it's where is the guy? And part of my rationale with Toronto going far in these playoffs was I had thought, okay, Nylander, Tavares, Marner, that defense, that goaltending is all good enough right now that Austin Matthews can be a passenger on this team and they can still find success in these playoffs. Because if you're not expecting anything from him, well, guess what? He has the ability to score every time he's on the ice. So having a player like that isn't, do or die to your success, but can pop up every now and then, that's awesome too. That's what Tavares and Nylander are supposed to be to Matthews being the central piece, right? But um, I think for me, especially in the last two games, James, like Toronto's superstars, like this is the most broken record thing I could say. But I'm watching that game yesterday and I'm thinking this is when Marner and Nylander just need to take over for a shift. This is when Matthews needs to walk in down the left side and beat the goalie, beat Olmark with a laser over his glove, right? And it's just the good players in that game, the best players for Toronto didn't take over. Um, and at this point, we are looking at a game six tomorrow where if they don't take over that game, like we're talking like this is a legacies being written type series, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, the way I feel about it is that I'm entertained, but I feel like I could be more entertained.
Well,
I I see hustle from players. I see a lot of heart from players, but like I'm not seeing the giant, humongous storylines that grab me in this series. You know what I mean? Like this isn't feeling fully like playoff hockey to me, but I understand it's playoffs, and maybe that's why I'm not gravitating to it as much. I mean, like, who's really impressed you that much in this series? Who's blown you away?
I'm always just in love with Max Domi. Chris Tanev has been really, really steady. Um,
Simon Benoit, he's been good.
Simo Benoit's
That's
been
been a nice one.
better than I expected. Anthony Stolarz has not been a problem at all. He's been very steady. But again,
I think my big bother is where the hell is the playoff William Nylander I've been defending for 3 years?
yeah, yeah.
What the hell is going on with that? Is he battling something? Because every year it's like, oh, the core four, they're all playing like garbage. It's the playoffs all over again. And I'm like, actually, if you're watching the game, Nylander looks fantastic. I'm not seeing that right now. Tavares has been great. I've
Yeah.
loved damn near every shift I've seen from the guy, and this is one of few series where I feel like I've watched almost every period. I've probably missed 3 periods since the series started between these two teams. Um, Morgan Riley, I feel like I enjoy his responsibilities being dampened a little bit, especially in the offensive zone. I've been impressed enough, like I've said, but no one's really blowing me away, other than maybe Tavares, who is he okay? Didn't he go down the tunnel? Or no,
Yeah,
that was the game before.
yeah, no, no, not in the last game. I can picture
Yeah,
him
he's
doing that
fine.
in the white jersey. Yeah, but
Yeah.
yeah,
But then on the Ottawa end, Shane Pinto's really impressed me. But I already knew he was great.
Ridley Gregg.
Yeah, but he's not doing anything I didn't know he already could.
Hmm.
Um, I feel like it's a tale of two cities with this series, and these they're swapping back and forth. I don't really know what the next game entails. If I'm Toronto, I'm worried. I'm locking myself in the bathroom with the lights off, and I'm crying myself to sleep. If I'm Ottawa, I'm thinking we're playing with foul money here. We were at the end of our rope. It was over. It's not over anymore. Bring on the next game. If Ottawa body bags Toronto in this game, I'm not going to become a Leafs hater, but I'm going to stop caring about any of these games ever.
Thursday, man, that's a big one. And for the record, Game 7 would theoretically be on Saturday, May 3rd, along with the theoretical potential Game 7s of Colorado, Dallas, Minnesota, Vegas, and Edmonton, LA. All of those
There were
series.
4 game 7s on one day.
That's if we have four series not end in six, because all four of those could be over in Game
Are they even
6.
allowed to do that? They shouldn't be allowed to put 4 game 7s on one day. What a
Well,
joke.
uh,
Edmonton, LA, Minnesota, Vegas, Colorado, Dallas, Toronto, Ottawa. So what? Toronto, Ottawa is going to be at 2 p.m. noon? Noon
you know
must
what?
be.
That's a good question. I I have to imagine on a Saturday they'd spread these guys out a little bit more,
Well,
especially
the
with.
Oilers Kings would have to be at 7,
Mhm.
as would Minnesota, Vegas, because Vegas is at home. So that's 2 game 7s on at 7 p.m. I'm not okay with that.
Well,
I'm not
okay,
okay with that at all.
so either Edmonton or Vegas is going to close out. My prediction then.
Make one of them 8 p.m. if they're both happening. But yeah, the script writers would say that you have to end one of them beforehand. And sadly, I think it is. Can we take it on to the next series? Can I make this such a subtle but non-subtle transition? I think it's going to be my other cup final pick, my cup winning pick, actually, the LA Kings getting speed bagged and sent home in game 6 and not going to game 7. Aiden, I have never been so impressed and then so disappointed in the span of what, 2 periods? It was 2 periods, changed everything. I have zero belief in this Kings team right now. And I say team because I'm talking right now. I believe in this franchise, but I have no belief in them whatsoever. I don't really believe in the Oilers either. I think they're a joke. But I think the Kings are a bigger joke right now. And if our listeners remember, I said I was on the fence between Vegas and LA for my West pick, but I was choosing LA. I'm not confident in any of it anymore. I lose confidence with every pick I make every day, honestly. But yeah, the Kings, I love the Harmonic Queens storyline. That was amazing. Those Korean seniors home women who came on and played the Star Spangled Banner via harmonica. That was amazing. And they were so good in front of them. And then they let them down in this last home game. They really let them down. The Harmonic Queens didn't let you down. They went and rested up. They got all ready to go for you. These are very, very, very elderly people. You know how much effort it takes for them to get up in front of 20,000? Not to mention the hundreds of thousands that are watching via broadcast. Come on. You let these ladies down. Byfield's flub. Oh my God. That was terrible. Then, not to mention, I'm not even gonna go to the 1-3-1 thing because it's gross to watch. I hate watching it. I hate watching it almost as much as I used to hate watching the Islanders. And but the other thing for me is I talked so much about the balance and depth this Kings team has, and I still believe they have that. But why are they playing their fourth line and bottom defenseman like a combined 10 minutes the whole game? What the hell is that? I'm not gonna smack talk Jim Hiller because he's from Port Alberni and I'm from Port Alberni. I plead the fifth on the matter. But I'm not liking any of the decisions they're making whatsoever. I think the only people they can blame for this series is themselves, and they're gonna lose in game six.
Yeah, no, well, and you kind of nailed it on the head. And honestly, you nailed it on the head, but you pulled out what? It was a specific few minute stretch in which one, game three or game four?
Game four.
Okay, well, and unfortunately, James, I have to ask that because they've blown multiple leads in third periods in this series, right? And I think that's like it could have been. If you look at objectively how games three and four in Edmonton went, it should have been 3-1 LA coming out of those games. Like LA, you said it yourself. LA basically did everything in their own power for it not to be 3-1 Kings
Yep.
coming back. And then Edmonton completely outplayed LA yesterday. Completely just stomped on them. 3-1 was a score, but they outshot them 46-22. And
Darcy Kemper has looked amazing even in the bad games, I've
yeah,
found.
he I saw some not very loving things said about him when he was nominated for the Vezina. But man, if you've watched him this year, this has been how he's been all year, and he's like he's been one
Uh,
of the three best goalies in this league all season long.
Other than Doughty, I don't really, and I guess Kopitar, I don't really think any of their players ever get any love league wide.
Yeah, even Kopitar, man, Kopitar's been perennially one of the most
Yeah.
underrated guys around. Um, let's yeah, Game Six for Edmonton LA is tomorrow night. Again, it'll be a 7 o'clock local start here on the West Coast.
Kings are going
James,
to lose, and then both of my cup final picks are going to be out first round after Ottawa completes the reverse sweep.
well, speaking of cup picks, I had New Jersey as my Stanley Cup pick at the start of the year. They are now officially the first team eliminated from the playoffs. Um,
Hmm.
5-4 Carolina wins in double overtime. James, did you happen to watch game five of New Jersey, Carolina
I
yesterday?
know the answer to that question.
Yeah, Jacob Markstrom, man, let me tell you, this was one of the most
Just to be
like
clear, the answer to that question is no. I did not peek at that game once, other than looking at the box score at the end of every period.
like Jacob Markstrom is the only reason Carolina didn't smack them in regulation. Like this could have been like a 8-5 hockey game for Carolina, and that's partially thanks to New Jersey. The Devils go up 3-0, like not even 10 minutes into the first period, and they protect that lead into the second period and then just fall apart. Taylor Hall, Jackson Blake, and Andrei Svechnikov score 3 goals in the first 5 minutes, 5.5 minutes of the second period. He sure is able to score, but then Aho scores on the power play. It's 4-4 in the middle of the game, and then Jacob Markstrom just takes over because Carolina threw everything at New Jersey trying to win that game in regulation. And Markstrom was absolutely unbelievably good the whole time. Finally, though, on a power play in overtime, it's Gostisbehere to Aho, and he powers the one-timer through Markstrom and in. Hurricanes earn the win in the day. Sebastian Aho, I think, had 3 points, 2 goals, and an assist in that game. Fantastic. He was the best player in Carolina in a Canes jersey that day. But jersey's done. Unfortunately, James, when we heard about the Jack Hughes injury, we kind of said that this season was going to be a little bit of a write-off. for a young team.
Props to some of their players, namely Nico Hischier and Timo Meyer, for getting them to playoffs because that was in question. They got them in there, and now they have a worse draft pick, and they got their organization made some money to have a couple of home games.
Yeah, I'm never like super upset for a team when they're in that position when they're trying to improve. Like when you are peddling
They're
in
not supposed to be
mediocrity.
getting high draft picks right now.
Yeah, yeah, when you're
They're
peddling
supposed
in
to be competing for Stanley Cups right now.
exactly, and they will tell you that they think they have the core pieces to do that. So then this becomes about those core pieces getting that experience, right? And you mentioned the captain, Nico Hischier. He's been amazing all season long. He dragged this team kicking and screaming into the playoffs.
Why
Um,
are him, Nick Suzuki, and Robert Thomas the exact same level of player, and they seem to all progress at the same rate every year?
I like that. I like that. I do.
Mhm.
Thomas and Suzuki are like both locks on the Olympic team right now. That's I love seeing the guys who break out in the Olympic years because like
Yeah.
historically it's always happened. You always see guys doing that. Um so let's the last game from yesterday we haven't touched on is the Minnesota Wild and the Vegas Golden Knights. James, you haven't watched any of this series. Definitely not to the same extent that LA has.
Oh, actually, I should say I watched a period in no, I watched the final period of the first game when the Golden Knights were completely having their way.
At 2-1 Minnesota, I thought they had it. They'd won back-to-back games 5-2, and they looked the better team. They came out at home in game four, and I think unfortunately this is the one that they're going to feel like got away from them because it was all Vegas from the start of game four. They outshot them 11-4 in the first period, and they never even really let Minnesota back into the game. The Wild got their goals off of just Minnesota Wild hockey. Like Marcus Foligno's been awesome. He's been everything you need him to be. It was his forecheck that gave them a 2-1 lead in the second period of game three, or game four, sorry. And again, at that point, you look at them and you're saying they're on the precipice of a 3-1 series lead. But Vegas comes back, they tie it. Barbashev wins it in overtime. Same story in game five. Vegas took an early lead, but Minnesota fought back. Matt Boldy ties the game early in the third period, and you think, okay, they're going to have a series lead. This time it's Brett Howden early in overtime, and a completely just missed assignment in front of the net. Howden shouldn't be that wide open there. Pearson gives him the puck and he buries it. Brett Howden, that's 3 goals in the series already for him too.
Two of them are
So,
OT winners, right?
pardon?
Aren't two of them winners? Game
Uh,
winners?
Two of them are game winners. Yeah, he won game one, I think, right before he then scored into the empty netter, if I'm not
Right.
mistaken.
Okay.
Um, But James, like, it's disappointing. And unfortunately, it's the same thing for Minnesota every year. And it feels like we're saying that it's the same thing for Minnesota every year after it is. Like, it's just, this feels like the Minnesota Wild dance. And it feels like we keep going in circles with this team. And you're talking about New Jersey and saying, oh, they lost in the first round. They're going to get a worse draft position. They got a couple home games of playoff revenue. Again, like, I can almost stomach that with New Jersey because there is a clear like we got these draft picks. We have Hughes, we have Nemec, we have Heischer, we have Bratt. Like you have all these pieces in place that they deliberately went out and built. Whereas the Minnesota Wild, like you have
Okay,
Kirill
hold the
Kaprizov.
phone. I arguably prefer Minnesota's young organizational depth to Jersey's. Arguably.
Yeah, I was gonna say that defense, like both defenses are set to be good for a long time,
Mhm.
right? But what New Jersey to me has done such a much better job at for pretty much the entirety that they've tried to be competing is they're a team who like much like Vegas like they've never been satisfied, right? Like when Jacob Markstrom, when Dougie Hamilton, when those guys hit the market, when Timo Meyer was available for trade, it was New Jersey who went out and made absolutely sure
Yeah.
they're getting all of these guys. Minnesota has built their success even through being the opposite of that. Like they had the high scoring winger in Kevin Fiala unbelievably good work to turn him into Brock Faber, but uh, you need to bring in another Fiala then, right? Like this Minnesota Wild team outside of Boldy and Kaprizov, they don't have game breakers up front. They need more options to put the puck in the back of the net. They have some incredible two-way forwards on that team. I just mentioned Foligno. Joel Eriksson Ek always deserves his flowers. Marco Rossi's been good, but Minnesota again, it just seems like it is so much and I don't want to say content, but there is seemingly not enough motivation to move out of a very, very mediocre space that this team is stuck in. And I like their young players. I like their, like Zeev Boyum stepped in, was really serviceable in this series so far. He looks young, but you could see all the potential in the world coming up with him. But I would absolutely love to see this Minnesota Wild team. Obviously, again, they're down 3-2. This series isn't over. But if it's another first round exit, like I would so love to see them be players in this RFA market. There are so many restricted free agents this summer, man. And so a team that's looking to make a huge splash to try and improve, you're getting a young stud if you properly attack that RFA market. And that would be my hope for Minnesota this offseason if this is just another disappointment in the first round.
I'm not mad at that. I'm not mad at that. I enjoy that take. But I mean, I I do like the experience given to a Marco Rossi, to a Brock Faber, and to a Zeev Boyum. Like I enjoy that. I don't really think Kaprizov needs this. I think like the more you stew in futility with Kirill Kaprizov on your roster, the more the chances you're going to lose him. And that should be the biggest fear in every Minnesota Wild's life. I mean, in the non-practical fears that a sports fan has, at least. But Aiden, what series do we have next? Let's move on out of Minnesota because Vegas is going to end them, and it's pretty much all said and done in my eyes.
Yeah, I would again, I want to disagree, but it's hard to disagree with the way again, the trend of the last two games and both of the last two games were in overtime.
Mm.
So again, it's razor thin, but Vegas has just looked the team in control. We're gonna go to Colorado, Dallas now,
Oh
and
God.
yeah, I'm gonna let you I'm gonna let you just vent.
What
What's
a
been up?
roller coaster of emotions this has been. Oh my God. Like the Avs just they take it away in game one and they do so much damage and they make Dallas look foolish repeatedly and they make some of Dallas's veterans look like they don't truly have it and then they expose some holes in the Stars defense and the depth all looks so good and then next thing you know it's just like they can't generate anything on the power play at all. I really, really give props to Peter DeBoer and the rest of the Stars coaching staff because it doesn't matter how many power plays the Avs get. They may get one power play goal in a game. And that's, I don't think that's enough when you're getting 6 or 7 opportunities. This is ridiculous. Like, you're not going to get this many opportunities in playoffs, especially in later rounds. Why are you not taking advantage? Oh, because the Stars have completely shut it down. Um, I love Martin Necas in an Avs jersey, but he does not know where to be on the power play if his small spot is getting shut down because he kind of works this little rover role where he kind of like goes off in the middle, goes to the back wall, goes and retrieves it. He'll do the three-way puck retrieval with Makar, McKinnon, and himself. But then if his lanes are getting taken away, he goes over to McKinnon's spot and he's just like getting in the way. And then Jonathan Drouin, who I love, I'm such a big fan. They're taking away his spot in the slot, the left-handed TJ Oshie spot. What do you call that
Yeah,
again?
bumper.
The bumper. They're taking away the bumper. There's no bumper pass there. If he does get a shot off, It looks great at first, but then you realize it's been deflected by two sticks. Um, Thomas Harley has been the best defenseman in this series, which is no disrespect to him, a joke, a complete joke when you have Cale Makar and Devon Taves on Colorado, who are the top pair for Canada at the Four Nations and will be again at the Olympics. This is ridiculous. This should not be happening. Like Dallas is without their top defenseman Amiro Heiskanen, and their probably top forward in Jason Robertson. This is insane. Why is Colorado down 3-2 in the series right now? Oh, we get our first game back with Gabriel Landeskog in 3 years. One of the most beautiful and monumental moments. By the way, they teased by activating him off the IR and letting him go for a pregame skate the game before. Didn't put him out. Sure, he wasn't ready, but like, don't tease the fans. They've been waiting so long. Way too long for that. You would have known he's not going to play. Like that was very stupid. But then he comes back. They completely lay an egg, lose. Okay, you know what? We can forgive that because then in game four, he scores that beautiful goal, incredible shot, adds another assist as well. Avs win 4-0, series even. Then Aiden, in game five, I was having some issues with Sportsnet Plus, issues that I would love to air out here on here, by the way.
Oh, dude, this is like if you want to open the door on to, like crapping on Sportsnet on this
I'm okay with
podcast.
never working for Rogers again if that's what like dunking on their app completely means.
Yeah,
I
like just go
really,
off.
really, really miss Game Center Live.
Ugh,
Really
dude.
do. Because which was very janky, but at least it gave you options for different streams to choose from. You could have the home, the away, the national, or the French if that was an option. Okay, well, Sportsnet Plus dials you into one stream. It tells you directly on their website that you can have two screens, two apps or devices playing at the same time. I only had one other app playing. Me and my buddy Colton split it, which on their terms and conditions, I looked because I didn't want to look stupid when it came to the support call. Yes, I was on a support call yesterday or no, day before yesterday. Um, it wouldn't let me on. It said I was on too many devices. So I go log out of all devices. Colton logs back in, goes on. I log back in, go on. Says I'm on too many devices. I have the allowed amount on. The exact allowed amount. I logged out of all devices. So how are you telling me that I have too many? And then I did something really, really funny. Really, really funny. If you can't tell, I was having a great time. This was a very bad day for me when this was happening, and I was looking for an easy win. And then uh Colton logs out and I go to click stream just to test it out. And it still says I'm on too many devices. I didn't have a single one streaming, but it says I'm on too many. I don't know how you can explain that at all. And in the playoffs, when I'm pretty sure they're upcharging for single month playoffs right now. I can't confirm that, but I'm pretty sure they are and have done that before. Um, I I am so annoyed and disgusted that this is the product that I'm paying close to $300 a year for. Like that is insanity for a product that lowers resolution, is always on a delay that's up to 2 minutes. If one of your friends is watching on cable and you're watching on Sportsnet Plus and you're on a FaceTime call with them, the whole game's spoiled. If one of your neighbors starts cheering, whole game's spoiled. This is supposed to be live. Why is it on a 2 minute delay? It says nothing in their settings about why it's on a 2 minute delay. This honestly, man, complete joke. I will probably be paying for a deluxe pop-up blocker and just streaming illegally next year. Come after me if you want to. I don't care because I'm officially done with this Sportsnet Plus BS. It's over. I don't want it anymore. It's a garbage product. If you have it, you should probably look at other options too. I think cable with basic local sports might actually cost me less.
Dog. My dad. in his house pays for like the optic TV. Well, with the optic TV, you get given like a login where
Mm.
you can access whatever channels are included with your optic package with this login. Like, do you know how when you go to sign in at Sportsnet,
Mm.
you
Yeah,
can sign
yeah.
in
Yeah,
through
I
the
did that with
TV
my grandma's
provider?
once.
Yeah, it works, man. So I'm sitting here with my dad's optic login watching Sportsnet Plus, watching TSN on demand because he's got those channels built
Mm.
into his optic package. Dude, like the fact that I'm it blows me away every time I use it that like okay, I'm getting this for free. I'm lucky. I can I'm in shock and awe that this is what they charge so much for every time I'm using it
It's
because
going up like $40 a year right now.
like and I want to tell, like, we have a hockey podcast, dude. This is the best sports at the best time of the year. The,
Oh, and Sportsnet just got what, like a 7-year renewing of
yeah,
the license?
yeah, like, how am I supposed to tell?
Ew.
How am I supposed to tell our friends that this is the best hockey in the world? This is the best, this the playoff hockey is the most exciting sport that you, I think, get to watch on any sort of annual basis, semi-annual basis, even. Um,
You know what? I'm sick of the panel too. Give me the American broadcast.
that's fair too. I think
I love and respect many of them. I
Lalonde is
we
so
need to get
smart.
that out there.
Lalonde is so smart, but
Yep.
he's just not built for this.
I'm so bored every time I'm
Yeah,
watching it.
yeah.
I'm not saying I'm gonna be better. I'm not saying I disrespect and dislike these people, but I I actually the last few times I shut it off and started playing video games in the intermissions. And then I got bored of that, and then I just shut it off and didn't turn the game back on. That's not a good look for your product. Not a good look at all. So I don't know. I'm not going to tell them to do anything about it because they already lost the customer. Like I'm already gone. It's over.
No, dude, and I like 0% of me blames you in the slightest. Well, and we haven't even talked. You've been yapping
Oh, wait,
for
wait. I was supposed to finish what I'm saying about this series. Yeah, the Avs get absolutely curb stomped in game 5. Um, and while I'm fighting with getting on there, I turn it on and they just score a quick couple goals. And I'm like, all right, screw this. I don't even want to watch it. I'm so done with this. And then Colton texts me and he's like, they're absolutely flying and they just scored one. I turn it on, they score another one. And I'm like, they're only down by a goal and they're looking great. Then like I go downstairs at my girlfriend's place to get a Coke Zero. Really, really loving the sugar-free pops right now. Big on those. Like big on those. It's awesome. They do caffeine-free ones too.
dude.
Like,
They've saved my life, man.
yeah, it's fantastic. I love me some bubbles. Like sign me the hell up. But yeah, Dallas scores a very quick 2 goals after that. I went, yeah, no, I'm done here. And I looked at my girlfriend and said, do we have any shows to watch right now? She's like,
The
oh,
answer's
don't
the
you
answer
want to
is
watch?
always yes.
Oh, always, always. She's like, oh, like your favorite team's playing. Don't you want to watch it? And I'm like, I don't even know if I like the sport right now. Like, I need a cool off minute.
Well, and you know what, man?
Oh,
I th
final note. They're going to either get eliminated in a blowout tomorrow in game 6, or they're going to like have one of those random wild run the show games tomorrow and then get blown out in game 7. Basically, what I'm confirming is they will get eliminated in a blowout.
well, listen, game 5 was bad. Mackenzie Blackwood had his worst game of the series. I don't think he's gonna be that poor again.
Rest of the team might be worst game I've ever seen Kale McCarr play, and I only watched 10 minutes of it.
Yeah, well, that first goal was inexcusable. Like Makar and McKinnon just both decide to switch off 5 seconds into the game, and Johnston wins a race for a puck and just throws it on net and beats Blackwood.
Wyatt Johnston's really good, and I hate him now.
Well, and
I don't
and
even want to
this
watch him play hockey ever again.
this series, like I had Dallas as my cup winner pretty much like since they picked up Rantanen, and when Robertson and Heiskanen weren't going to be ready to start this series,
Doesn't matter.
yeah,
Doesn't even matter.
I thought it was golden opportunity for Colorado. And you know what? If they survive a very strong Dallas team, they're going into a second round against a team they can beat as well, right? Neither of these two teams, nobody in these playoffs except for like maybe Montreal and clearly New Jersey are done, right?
Yeah.
Nobody is.
Everyone
Um,
else has a chance at the Cup, which is crazy.
including both Florida and Tampa, who currently have their game six going on, or sorry, I should amend that. Game five going on right now. Sam Bennett has actually just given the Panthers a 4-3 lead late in the second period of game five. Florida leads this series
Shorthanded.
3-1. Yeah, Florida leads this series 3-1. Bennett beats Vasilevsky blocker. Uh, James, Florida is now 24 minutes of hockey away from a 5 game bouncing of the Tampa Bay Lightning.
Which is
That,
exactly what they did last year,
yeah, and it's either that or we're going to see a game six.
where
It's a
they're
close,
also going to beat them.
yeah. But it's been all Florida, all series. Tampa Bay haven't had what they've needed.
I'm not going to say it's been all Florida because I feel like there's been some games where the Lightning are kind of in it. Your cousin has looked great.
He
Shout him
just
out.
scored
Tell
today.
people, tell our listeners if they don't already know who they're watching and why he's good because no one, including Paul Bissonnette, can pronounce his name.
No, they can't.
No one. I actually, even though you said his name to me 9 times at least, I can't confidently say what it is.
Well, it's the very subtle difference between like the Portuguese pronunciation and the Spanish pronunciation. Um, it's Gonzalez in Spanish.
Hmm.
It's Gonçalves in Portuguese.
Hmm.
So Gage Gonçalves of Tampa, first playoff goal today to make it 1-0, 2.5 minutes in.
And
Big
is
for
he
the
not a
kid.
point per game this series?
I think he would need another point today. I think it's a
Okay.
goal and 3 assists in 4 games so far. He's playing great, and you know what? I think Tampa's depth has been really good. Florida have done so well at shutting down these Lightning superstars. That's what it is, man. Like Kucherov, Point, Gensel have not had what the even the space, the space and time that they even when they have players paying really close attention to them in the regular season, they still have so much more time and space than this, James. Florida have done
Okay,
an
wait, Aiden, you're making some great points, and like I just have to stop you because I don't think anyone's that concerned about the time and space. They want to hear what we think about these hits.
oh,
Yeah,
I suppose, yeah, I guess I completely forgot about that. So the first one
we
was,
were burying the lead, and that's what we were
yeah,
taught not to do.
yeah, no, that was like day one at school.
Yeah.
Um, so the first one's game three, right?
The is that the
No,
Ekblad forearm shiver, or is that the Kachuk on the Kachuk murder check?
sorry, no, first one was game two because it was Hagel.
Yes.
Brandon Hagel got suspended for a hit on Alexander Barkov from
Yeah.
game two. He got 5 minutes for interference in a game misconduct. Barkov and Hagel are both skating towards the Tampa net. The puck kind of passes Barkov, but he's never in possession of it. He never touches it. And Hagel goes to hit Barkov as if he was in possession of the puck, which you can't do. It was a very, very hard hit. It was away from the puck and it was blindside. So Brandon Hagel, I thought, justifiably got a 5 minute major, a game misconduct, and a 1 game suspension for it. James, any other thoughts on that hit?
No, I thought punishment was deserved, and I didn't think any further discipline beyond that was warranted, and I was happy to see Barkov come back.
Me too. Okay, next game, right at the end. Jake Gensel slides a little pass through for Anthony Cirelli. Cirelli has a breakaway in an empty net. Right after Jake Gensel releases the puck, Matthew Tkachuk takes,
One Mississippi,
yeah,
two Mississippi.
yeah, 2 full strides and almost 2 full seconds later,
Yeah,
Tkachuk staples Gensel to the ice in the middle of the center dot.
he's just built like that, man.
I also thought five and a game was a good call. James, I would have given Tkachuk a 1 game suspension.
Do you want my honest answer or my business answer? Or sorry, my
Both.
business answer or my fan answer?
Sure, both.
Fan answer is Yeah, probably deserved one game sussy, maybe, but like if this is past round two of playoffs, I'm not suspending that.
I understand.
If it's even round two, I'm probably not suspending that. But the business answer is Matthew Kachuk's face is on everything, and he makes the game more watchable, especially for a bunch of people who know nothing about hockey and just want to see that big hit. Nobody died, no suspension.
Yeah, and I thought the fact that like it
Gensel
wasn't
just
an
scored a goal
elbow.
today. Like he's
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah, we didn't see an elbow. We didn't see like a jump. We didn't see
Oh, and
a head being
also,
targeted
also,
from Kachuk.
yeah, yeah, that's the thing. Like, it was late. The lateness is the problem. All things considered, even though he murder checked him, he was kind of a clean hit.
Yeah, it was late. That was
Yeah.
the problem with it. You're completely right. And that is why, I stomached that all good, even though again, right after the Hagel one, I thought we'd get a game for Kachuk as well. Aaron Ekblad, fresh off fresh off a 25 game sussy, right? 20,
For
25.
performance enhancers that he allegedly knew nothing about.
Yeah. Again, that sucks. I had somebody ask me, I don't know if it was, I don't think we talked about it on this podcast. I had somebody ask me, like, oh, how could he have possibly not known? And I think I said that Nicholas Backstrom was not allowed to play in an Olympic gold medal game because he took Advil. Like,
You know what?
some,
Like, I do believe that he didn't know, but I just have to say, as a former journalist, I have to say allegedly.
yeah.
Because I cannot say beyond reasonable doubt that he did not know.
Yeah. See, that more of James and I's education bleeds through. Um,
Sadly.
but Ekblad gets high on Hagel in game five. Gets
It
or
was a
game four.
five-finger forearm shiver.
Yeah.
It's a
Um,
UFC move.
yeah, you got to watch this hit because James, and again, I don't want to just sit here and talk about how the refs blew this call, but oh my God, how is this not a penalty on the ice? Hagel is working his way up the left wing boards. Ekblad comes up from right defense and steps up on him with, yeah, like his full arm is up and protruding away from his body forward, sideways to like, and it's right towards Hagel's head. Brandon Hagel's head, he would have literally had to duck underneath him to have not been nailed in the head with Ekblad's elbow, hand, or forearm. Like just the way that Ekblad delivered that check, it
Since this
was.
podcast isn't given to all you guys in full video format, I should mention that Aiden just made that full explanation while shaking his fist in the air.
Yeah, I guess that's what it would have looked like.
Yeah, yeah.
It, it it was crazy that there was no penalty on the play. James, the Kachuk one felt like a message. It felt like you hit our captain last time. I'm going to step up on this guy.
Yeah, exactly.
The Ekblad one on Hagel, did that have an element of hatred in it too, or do you think it was just a hit that Ekblad got too high
I
on?
don't think it was hatred. It was like, let's kill these dudes.
Yeah, but it
That- like,
wasn't.
we want to win and we don't care who we hurt doing it. Let's
Yeah.
kill these dudes.
My thought was that it was Hagel because of the Barkov hit, and that's where.
I think that's just who was right in front of him. I don't
Yeah,
think it was because of that.
yeah, when I saw it live, I was a little bit like, okay, because honestly, James, every time we sit here and we talk suspensions, I say that if if there's a clear intent to illegally hurt somebody, like a targeted attempt to hurt somebody, I'm always down to throw the book at a guy versus a bad hit, a mistake, whatever, right? Something in the moment. And so when I'm looking at Ekblad, I genuinely want to kind of figure out in my head, okay, is he going to do this to Hagel because it's Hagel, or is it like you said? And it looked like, again, it looked like to me it was just a sloppy from Ekblad. It was sloppy. That's what it was. It was without care that he went into that hit with Hagel. Brandon Hagel, is he playing tonight, James? The game again. We're late in this second period. Let me quickly run through their box score. No, he's
No,
not playing
no,
tonight.
no. He's definitely not playing. I
Yeah.
don't think he'd be available the rest of the series.
So Ekblad gets two. It's this one and next one, and I get it. I'm okay with it. You okay with it?
Yeah, yeah. I have no gripes about that
Mhm.
whatsoever.
Sergei Bobrovsky has continued to be just the necessary foundation of that Florida Panthers team. That Panthers team can kill you in so many ways. They are excellent in so many aspects, but
F. Jones looks real good,
he does. But the
which is exactly
asterisk,
what I said he was going to look like.
oh yeah, he's impressed me. And again, it's sheltered role, right? I think we talked about that when he went there. Was the fact that in Chicago, the entire time he was there, he was not only their number one defenseman, he was their only really good one. And so he got 30 minutes a night and the worst matchups, right? And all the responsibility to run the entire defense. So him
Yeah, if
looking,
anyone's still complaining about him, I'd like to see them play 28 minutes a game.
and you see it a lot. You see it a lot. That was part of the reason why Oliver Ekman Larson had so much success in Florida last year and so much success in Toronto this year. Because in Arizona and then subsequently Vancouver, he was being paid as a number one or at the very least a top three defenseman and couldn't play the minutes for it anymore because of the injury troubles he'd gone through. So sometimes it's just sometimes it's just fit. Sometimes it's minutes you're playing. Sometimes it's effect on your body. But Jones and the Panthers look good. And for Tampa Bay, 21 minutes are on this clock right now. Florida's up 4-3. So by the time you're listening to this, you'll know if the series was Panthers in five or if Tampa Bay forced it even farther. But Florida, unfortunately, James, because I thought Tampa was going to win, I wanted Tampa to win. I'm obviously cheering for Gage to do as well as he can. But Florida's been the better team. And whether it's tonight or whether it's on Friday in game six, they've deserved to win this series so far.
Definitely, man. I would like to take things back out west. I'd like to talk Blues and Jets. I think this has been probably one of the more perplexing series, and the
That's a
reason
good
for
word.
that is because Connor Hellebuyck just put together one of the best regular seasons among any goalie ever, and he continues to lay seemingly inevitable goose eggs every playoffs. And just NHL playoffs. He looked fantastic in the Four Nations. Guy looked incredible. But it doesn't matter. None of this matters, and none of these regular seasons matter at all if you're going to keep laying these goose eggs. Like you're building a team to succeed, to win Stanley Cups, to go on deep runs from a business standpoint, from a fan standpoint, from an organizational goal standpoint. And you're seeing Mark Scheifele, Kyle Connor, a handful of guys have great series, but Hellebuck and the back end just start floundering every time. I don't know what's going on. This is not the Josh Morrissey I watched all regular season. He looks lost often, and that is just wrong. That's completely incorrect. Like that's not where the guy should be at all. Aiden, do you have any answers for me? We can get to the Blues and what's impressed us, what's disappointed us. Not much has been disappointing. We can get to them after we're done realistically just ragging on the Jets. But what have you seen? Do you have any explanation or reason why? Because I'm not buying into, oh, he played too many games this season. Because do you suddenly turn into a pumpkin if you have played 65 games? Like if the 65th game was in the regular season or playoffs, is he still going to turn into a pumpkin? Or is it just because it's playoffs? So I don't buy that argument whatsoever. Can you tell me anything about why this is going on?
No, dude. No. Aside from aside from the fact that like respectably, Josh Morrissey and Neil Pionk are their only two defensemen where I'd look at them in a top six of a Stanley Cup team and say, perfect, right? Like Logan
I like Dylan
Stanley,
DeMello.
me too, but Logan Stanley and Dylan Sandberg on that left side have been disasters, both of them. They'll have a decent shift, they'll be in the right spot, and I'll think, okay, that was good. And then it's just another disaster after that. DeMello's steady, he's playing with Morrissey. But again, James, like Morrissey, DeMello, Sandberg, Pionk, Stanley, Shen, not a Stanley Cup group. Okay. And to me, you absolutely. knew what the problem was going to be if you're Winnipeg. There is like it's kind of like Toronto every year where they lose in the first round and I'm sitting here saying, well, they had the second best defense and the second best goaltending in the entirety of that series. Okay? I'm not saying that about Toronto anymore. But it's getting frustrating that I'm having to say that about Winnipeg right now, especially when their goalie is going to win the Vezina and arguably should be the Hart Trophy winner. So it's
Should be the Hart Trophy winner.
yeah, so it's hard to sit here and be like, oh, well, St. Louis is beating Winnipeg because of their vastly superior defense and goaltending. It's not that much better. It's just they're playing like exponentially better.
Well, and
Fowler
they're playing like teams.
himself, Cam Fowler's playing better than every defenseman on Winnipeg combined. I don't understand. Like, and again, like we can't sit here and say, well, oh, well, they didn't do stuff at the trade deadline, so now they're screwed. Like tonight's huge because they got smacked around. They got bullied twice in St. Louis, 7-2 and then 5-1. Hellebuck got pulled both times. To me, this is entirely what this team is made out of. If they come out and have a big game, they win, they go up 3-2. I still think they're going to close out the series and I still think they can do some damage, but this is a response. Okay, don't forget the year Washington won the Stanley Cup, they went down 2-0 at home to Columbus.
Hmm.
Okay, like losing back-to-back games in the first round means nothing, but it's completely how you respond, and this is Winnipeg's time to respond. Hellebuyck's getting the start. We knew he would, but it's worth mentioning as well that as we're sitting here right now, we are like on the precipice, I think, of this game starting. Um, yeah, it's supposed to start 6:30 local. It's 6:25 as we are recording right now. Um, to me, this is the season, man. Again, and maybe maybe this podcast gets listened to by somebody once Winnipeg has won this series in seven, and they hear me saying that this game is do or die. But I'm saying it, man.
In a
Winner of
2-2
this,
series, the winner of game five wins the series. Isn't it like 90% of the time?
I think that yeah, when you're up 3-2, it's a
Yeah.
number that high. Like I think that
No, not just
includes.
when you're up 3-2, but specifically when the series is tied and you win game five.
I think it's a lower number than 90, but it's still striking. It's striking. It's significant. Um, but Winnipeg, this is everything. This is how serious are you as a good team? The President's Trophy means nothing if they don't win tonight.
You're not. I don't think they are. I don't think they are that serious.
Again, tonight, man. Like uh, the Dallas Colorado series has been so wild that a Winnipeg series in the second round against either of those two teams, I'm not counting anything out, could go either way in every which way. Last one we haven't talked about, I think, is Washington Montreal, and it's a little bit of a bummer to bring this up. I'm happy that Alexander Ovechkin's playing well. I'm happy that his last hurrah here in the playoffs with a contender is currently going. He just scored his fourth, I think, today on the power plays, fourth of the series already, right off the hop. Washington is currently up 3-1 on Montreal with 10 minutes to go in the third period of a game that, if they win, would see them into the second round in five. Montreal has impressed me, but this was the series I expected, even with Montreal being good, where Montreal pushes, but Washington ultimately are just a cut better, and that takes them to victory. 3-1 right now in the series. It's been exciting. I've enjoyed watching it a lot. What do you think?
Well, and I think it's been a really cool series for a myriad of reasons, whether it's the veterans performing fantastically, whether it's been the young guns on the Montreal Canadiens showing that the future is bright and why it's bright. Or whether it's been both crowds just being phenomenal, those in the Bell Center and those in Washington, D.C. They've been very loud, they've been very proud, and they've loved supporting their teams. I I haven't caught, as we've said, I haven't caught all of the hockey that's been played, but there's something that I said was on my hockey bucket list, and I made sure I watched that on TV because one day I will see it in person, and that's the lighting of the torch before the puck drop at the Bell Center when for the first Montreal Canadiens home playoff game of the season. It's just such a fantastic thing watching I mean, it's not real fire, but watching the fire flood through the ice and fill the arena and seeing all of the fans on their feet, it's just an incredible thing. I highly recommend people go back and watch a video of it if you haven't before. But yeah, Aiden, what a show it's been from everyone else. I mean, Lane Hudson has been Lane Hudson at this point, and a very, very talented and very inexperienced professional defenseman. At times, he has been the best player on the ice for a minute and a half at a time, and at other times, it's completely his fault that his team is getting scored on. But that's playoff hockey when you are a very talented young player and you're playing against a very experienced team. When you're playing against a Tom Wilson, whether when you're playing against a John Carlson and Alex Ovechkin, you're not going to get oh, don't worry, buddy, you can try that again. It's going to be, I'm going to put you in a body bag and you can try figuring that one out next year. Um, I've loved spurts of Uri Slafkovsky. Spurts is probably the best word for it. I mean, a lot of players on the Canadians have looked great, but Samuel Montembeault, I've liked him, honestly. But Logan Thompson, that has been amazing. The Capitals offseason makes is it still Brian McClellan is GM of the Caps?
I didn't
I
think
want to
so.
say he's GM of the Caps. If he is, he deserves GM of the year.
Well, Spencer Carberry, it's Chris Patrick. Yeah, that was
Chris Patrick, okay.
yeah.
Brian
Um,
McClellan's probably a GM or two ago, isn't he?
he was there for 10 years and he won the
Yeah.
Stanley Cup there. So I don't know how old. Like
Okay.
I think we might be talking like this is actually Chris Patrick's first season. Um,
Okay.
yeah. And he's president now. So it's not like Brian
Okay. All
McClellan's
right. All
gone.
right.
Yeah,
I
I'm
don't
pretty
feel
sure he's
bad
still
about
there.
this.
Yeah, no, no,
But
no, no
yeah,
worries.
I just love what Caps management have done. Whether we've talked about it at length before, but the bringing in of Dubois, the giving Protoss a chance to ride high in the lineup, the depth additions, the home run on Chikrin, like it's the bringing in Logan Thompson. It's just been nonstop, man. I've loved all of it.
Yeah, Washington has traded so many of their guys, right? So many of their draft picks, whether it be guys they've taken or guys they've picked. And obviously, like every team, they have some misses or they have some guys that aren't where they thought they would have been by now. Ivan Miroshnichenko comes to mind. We don't know what Ryan Leonard's even going to be yet, but they picked Connor McMichael with a late pick in the first round. They picked Alexe Protas, I think, with a third round pick, and these guys have stepped in and been key contributors. Like there is not there's not one way you have success. There's a lot of ways you have success. And yeah, you mentioned that this Washington Capitals team have managed to both. I look at it, James, and I love the scouting because it's pro scouting to get the guys on other teams that you think you can get for less value than they're worth, like Pierre-Luc Dubois.
Mhm.
And it's amateur scouting in the that you know which guys to take once the no-brainers are off the table, right? Which is after 15 really in every NHL draft.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely, man. I mean, I've loved everything I've seen from them this season, but you're right. I mean, they haven't had a ton of draft capital to work with. Um, Ryan Leonard hasn't had to impress a ton, but I've loved what I've seen from him. Like he's in a pretty sheltered role. He's been nice at times. He's been unnoticeable at times, and I think that's what you want from your rookie third liner at this point in time. I mean, it's a long playoffs, hopefully for them, and he's gonna have some opportunity to be a hero. But Aiden, this series has the Capitals leading 3-1. A lot of the games have been very close, as is the one that we are currently paying attention to right now. I believe you're probably looking directly at it on one of your other screens. But the Capitals are leading 3-1 with about 6 minutes left in the third period. And with that 3-1 lead in this game and that 3-1 series lead, it looks like the Canadians are all but done. If you're Montreal, I think you're happy. I think you're happy you got here. Everyone counted you out. You were one of the worst teams I've ever seen in the first couple months of the season. And you kind of figured things out. It's uh it's a lot to look forward to, definitely. But Aiden, I think that's all we have for our playoff updates. But the coaching carousel, the
Mm.
NHL head coaching carousel keeps on spinning. I feel like we're getting another update every day about a coach that is fired or interviewing for a vacancy or pulling out from somewhere. Who do you want to start with?
Rick Tocchet, bro.
Oh,
Because
okay. Before you go into that, if now that he's gone, if Quinn Hughes somehow goes, do you go find another team?
that's a good question. Um, I obviously not, but there wouldn't really be. I can't foresee a worse set of events to happen for this organization than what has happened here in the last year, even. Because the JT Miller Pedersen thing, like the trade clearly didn't solve the effects of the problem. Because if you're asking me, I think that that situation really impacted Tocchet. Tocchet loved Miller. I don't think he wanted him to go. Hughes loved Tocchet. He didn't want him to go. So we're now in a spot where Rick Tocchet reportedly turned down again. This is numbers I've seen. So much in the same way that James and I's training, we're not going to make any absolute statements, but the rumor is that Rick Tocchet turned down a $5 million a year contract for 5 years,
Uh,
which is a lot of money. Um, that is Vancouver doing anything they can to keep him, and him still saying, you know what, no. And it's hard to blame him for saying, you know what, no, right now, man. Hard to blame him whatsoever,
I
because
want nothing to do with that organization if I'm him.
yeah, that makes a tremendous amount of sense. Dog, I am just, you know what, man? The Vancouver Canucks, the problem is Francesco Aquilini. He puts people in positions of power, but doesn't give them power. He doesn't give them the authority to do things that they feel is right, that they feel is best. I'm not saying that his hands were in letting Rick Tocchet go, but it's a byproduct of his hands being in all of this that Vancouver's in this situation right now. It is a completely directionless franchise at almost every turn because the team seems to never have winning as their top priority. It always seems to be like the number three priority. But it's always just winning in the moment. It's never long term success. It's never building anything. It's hard. It's hard to be a fan. I'm sure it's hard to be a player there because James Quinn Hughes isn't
Or
staying,
just to
man.
be a spectator.
Quinn Hughes isn't staying. We got to be honest,
Nope.
right?
He's Dunzo Ferrari.
Yeah, I think right now Vancouver's best bet is to try and look at exactly how much of a massive pile of shit you can get from New Jersey for him.
Do you think you can do you think you can go to Ottawa and get Jake Sanderson for him?
I think the only way you see that happen is if it's Hughes is in a contract year because Ottawa would only do that if they could negotiate an extension with him. And they can't
Right.
negotiate an extension with him. Like if Vancouver traded him today,
Well, Quinn Hughes is not re-signing in Ottawa, I'll tell you that for free.
yeah, see, and that's the other factor. So if they think they can retain Jake Sanderson, then I don't know if Ottawa would do that. Um, yeah, this has just been uh, a team spiraling into disaster. And quite frankly, James, again, despite the fact I'm a Canucks fan, this feels like a team that is getting exactly they're reaping what they're sowing, man. They're not running like a successful NHL organization. They haven't for a long time. So they're not going to be one. I'm looking at that head coaching spot in Vancouver and I'm thinking Mike Sullivan for the literal no other reason, no brainer that the Rutherford Alvin connections are there from Pittsburgh. We've seen Rutherford and Alvin already bring in both players and coaches that they are familiar with to help in the organization. I would not be surprised at all if Mike Sullivan ends up in Vancouver. Mike
Uh,
Sullivan leads Pittsburgh.
yeah, speaking of Sullivan, he was just let go 2 days ago after 10 years with the team. And to sum it up, there was a score article that was very appropriately named Playoff Flops Spoiled Sullivan's Glorious Penguins Tenure. Um, Wins Stanley Cups in his first 2 seasons with the team. After that, I think it was second round knockout against the Capitals team of destiny, and then four straight first round losses, a playoff miss, a first round loss, and a playoff miss,
That
or
sounds
something
right.
like that. That is just frighteningly bad considering the rosters they had for a couple of those years, post the loss against the Caps. I would be incredibly disappointed if I were some of those guys that we let it slip away. But you know what? They did win those two Stanley Cups. So you can never take that away from them. Those rings, those memories, those achievements, those will always be there. And Mike Sullivan, as a coach who has won two Stanley Cups, is in fairly elite company and will have no trouble whatsoever finding another job. Meanwhile, I believe the Penguins probably would go after one of them younger coaches.
Somebody's got to hire David Clark, man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
David Carl.
David Carl, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, David Carl. Who David Carl, he's definitely on my list of information to cover. The Denver coach is all over NHL teams' radars, but that doesn't mean he fully is not returning to Denver. We know for a fact that he has pulled out of the Chicago Blackhawks coaching search, which is really, really strange. I mean, you have a myriad of powerhouse prospects and a Connor Bedard to coach, but if you're not accepting the big offer there, and rumor is teams are offering 4, 5, 6 million to have David Carl come in and coach on like a 4 or 5 year like long-term plan. And if you're not taking that Chicago one, clearly there's something you don't believe in there. I'm not going to speculate on it because there's way too much of that going on right now. But who knows? Maybe we'll hear more of that in the near future. Another thing I want to add is former Blackhawks legendary coach and briefly a coach of the Florida Panthers. Only briefly because of reasons we are all too educated on.
Ooh.
Um,
Ooh.
uh, I recently saw that he is among the top candidates for the Anaheim Ducks coaching job that was vacated after Greg Cronin was let go.
That's Joel Quenneville. And you know what, man? Quenneville got the best out of a very young Chicago Blackhawks team. Okay,
Yep.
Trevor Zegras right now is not super dissimilar to Patrick Kane in his early 20s. So that
Okay.
makes sense. That makes sense.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I'll give you that. And then in the same vein, Mason McTavish isn't that different from Jonathan Taves at that time, at that point in his career.
Yeah.
Like you have a like similar personality types even maybe.
That was my thinking with Zegras and Kane. The similar
I think
personality
Kane was a
types.
little more hockey focused though. Like it doesn't really seem like Zegras is all that dialed in very often.
Yeah, don't forget a young Kane though, man.
Yeah, a young Kane, but he would still look super intense on the ice and with passion for the game.
Yeah, he just played better.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um,
I really love a lot of the things the Ducks have there. The talk around the town. I'm not just saying this. This is if you listen to any podcast hosted by current or hosted by former NHLers, they will tell you that they have all heard from active NHLers that Greg Cronin was very, very disliked in Anaheim.
mhm.
Nobody liked picking up what he was putting down. He was very quote unquote old school. And I don't know how quote unquote old school he was, but whatever it was, he was not being tolerated. And in a lot of players' year-end meetings, they were going in and saying, yeah, this is like, we're not going to go anywhere with this guy, which is wild that players have that power now, but I don't hate that they have that power now. That's a whole thing we can get into another day, but I mean, it's uh it's the kind of thing where it had to end. It was not a happy marriage in any way, shape, or form. But Aiden, you can't tell me the Ducks didn't vastly improve this year.
Well, I think what Cronin wanted to do finally got across. And you saw guys like Carlson and Zegras to an extent. Zegras was way better this year than he'd been. And I think that was partially because the whole team kind of bought into Cronin a little bit more. And then
Hmm.
Zegras in turn started being rewarded for buying into Cronin a little bit more. Um, but no, it was pretty obvious, I think, when you look at the even just the offensive creativity that that team always looked like was being robbed of them, right? Like they played a very cookie cutter simple game for a team with a bunch of young, very talented players on it. Any other coaching vacancies pop up?
Not that I'm aware of, but I have this weird sinking feeling we've missed one. If so, we'll address it in our next pod.
PWHL expansion. Huge. What did I say about the takeover tour? This was market research. I said that I didn't think it would be this fast. I was wrong. And I love it. Love it, love it. Seattle and Vancouver both getting PWHL teams. Vancouver, James, not only will not be owned by Francesco Aquilini, perfect, will also play out of the Pacific Coliseum.
Which is just a 12-minute drive from my apartment.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
can bet your behind that I will be heading down there to see some of the best names in women's hockey very frequently.
You and I and like two other hockey fans should like go in on like two sets of season tickets and then just like pair off when we want to go to games.
Yeah, I'm not super against that. Like
Yeah.
Philippe Poulin is still playing, right?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
No, this
Like
league
she will
has.
still be playing multiple seasons, right?
Oh yeah, James. The professional women's hockey league is the
They're
best I've.
buzzing. They're
Yeah,
so good.
this is
This
the
is the
best.
best state women's hockey's ever been.
Correct, correct. I was gonna say that. Like the popularity of the league, the quality of hockey, the quality of broadcasts, the quality of everything I've seen. Empty netter from Brandon Duhaime. So there's the dagger. Montreal loses 4-1 in game five and 4-1 in the series. That just popped up. But Vancouver and Seattle both start a Western division. James, women's hockey, people in Calgary love women's hockey. That's next for sure because that city loves its women's hockey, so they will get a team. I almost guarantee you with the expansion of this Western division. But yeah, if you're in Vancouver, if you're in Seattle, like this is more than worth. I know I say this about every level of hockey, but boy, is this going to be worth going to. I'm super excited for the atmosphere that arena brings out because it's been a while since we've had a high level team in there, right? If you're in the Vancouver area, you're pretty familiar with what and where Pacific Coliseum is. If you're not, it was the former arena of both the Vancouver Canucks and Vancouver Giants in the past. So a lot of history in that building. It's what I'm excited for as much as anything else. Excited for the potential employment opportunities as James and I work in hockey media that a PWHL team in the region would spurn. Obviously, we love, love, love hockey being for everyone. So this is super cool. I'm super happy about it.
And with 24 seconds left in the Caps and Canadians game, I can all but guarantee that the Washington Capitals have moved on to the second round.
Yeah.
Couple of quick things. Aiden, I don't know if you've watched any movies or not lately. I've been kind of slacking on my movies, but HBO's The Last of Us is back in action, and man, is it ever buzzing. I will be watching episode 3 immediately after us hopping off this podcast.
I have not started the new season yet. I,
You are missing out so
yeah,
hard. The quality is just perfection.
dude, like I will just always give flowers to this show because making an adaptation of anything is difficult because I always find you fail to strike the balance between appeasing the fans of the already established thing and making an objectively good quality product. The Last of Us was a video game, and I'm very happy
It was two
that.
video games actually, and the second one was the most divisive, one of the most divisive ones I've ever seen.
And this season's based on the second game, right?
Correct.
Yeah. Again, I don't have any
That's why
spoilers.
episode 2 has been drastically review bombed.
Okay, there you go. Um, Again, I have no knowledge. I'm excited, obviously, to watch this. I've
I already
watched.
knew everything about how this is going, and I'm still watching along intently because it's that good.
Okay, so I gotta get on that sooner than later for sure.
Yeah,
Even just before it gets spoiled for me.
yeah. I'm
Um,
surprised it hasn't been yet. I'm
yeah.
quite shocked. Yeah, you watch any good movies lately? Oh
Did
wait,
I?
wait, I do have a movie. Mickey 17 starring Robert Pattinson. I'm not going to say too much about it. Go give it a watch. It is odd, it is quirky, and it is a fairly original style of idea. So give it a go.
And oh god, don't tell me who the director is. Don't tell me who the director is. Boon Joon-ho, Parasite,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, bang. I knew it was somebody I knew. I'm excited to watch it. Yeah, I have that one on the list too. Um, I forgot it was Robert Pattinson. I knew Stephen Yuen was in it. Um, but yeah, Robert Pattinson too. Exciting stuff. No, I don't have a movie for you. Um, James, I feel like we just really quickly, I know we're into like the time where we usually have more fun and we're tight. Um, this World Junior trials going on. The details are making me sick to the stomach. But
I have no idea. Oh, yeah, yeah. I have been loosely following along.
yeah,
I don't feel like I'm okay with describing them, but
no, I'm not gonna do that either. When this is over, I'm gonna have a lot to say about it. Right now, again, stay out of the goddamn comments. That's it. That's all I
yeah,
have to say. It's
yeah.
like don't read them if you care
But if you
about
have a
other
soul,
people. Yeah. And then don't contribute if you don't. I don't want to hear it. Nobody wants to hear it. That's all I got to say. Uh,
but just actually heading to a fun thing though, outside of that, I know that's a hard transition, but Aiden, I have a couple small pieces of trivia for you, and I believe you had a question for me from last podcast. How about I take it away, you go, and then I'll go again.
okay.
Start things off, something relatively easy and one that gives you some creative input. I would like you to name three players who have been financially over rewarded for a great playoff run to the point where that contract is a detriment to the team or the team that ends up with that contract.
Ooh. And are we talking guys that are currently on contracts?
Any player that was over rewarded for a great playoff run, which I mean is a stupid thing to say, but a couple years down the line, it always sucks. Like one I will give you that I know you weren't going to get is in 2006, the Edmonton Oilers very strongly financially rewarded Fernando Pisani, who was a depth forward who had an incredible playoff run with some awesome overtime game winners. One that I can still hear in my head today, even though I was 7 years old watching this. It it ended up being a terrible contract, and the compliance buyouts were not really a thing yet. So, um, yeah, some of them do get a little bit out of hand, and the players do not usually live up to them because you're rewarding past play, not future play.
It's hard, man. It's hard because it's also hard to zero in on, oh, it was a playoff run that earned this player this money and then he didn't live up to.
Honestly, I thought you were going to be all over this immediately. Often, this is a financial reward given to grinders who can basically not possibly live up to it because their role is in depth. Um, a couple of them in the past 15 years have been third and fourth liners who have been part of a great third or fourth line, but the next season, that line isn't fully put together. And they are rewarded by their team or another team in free agency after winning one or maybe more than one cup as an exceptionally talented grinder who contributes heavily to offseason success.
Dog.
I'd like to point out that was Aiden's fifth dog of the podcast.
I spent all day with my parents' little puppies today, and I just call them dog. I actually pitched that as their names. I was like, you got two dogs, just name them one and two. It'll
Hmm.
it'll crack up whoever you tell that your dog's names are dog and dog respectively, but they didn't
One of
want
my
to do
dad's dogs had puppies once, and he kept the ninth one and just called her number nine.
it.
Hmm.
Like I'm trying to think of those Blackhawks teams. Andrew
Hmm.
Ladd
You're
left.
on to something.
Yeah. Andrew Ladd left right after.
Yeah, but he was a first line forward for years and years after that.
Yeah, yeah. We need like we need a guy who fell on his face after.
Chicago, you're
Chicago.
warm.
Victor Stahlberg wasn't like that. Michael Frolik wasn't like that. Oh my God,
Think
dude.
of a player they had to trade away, and they had to give away a very strong young asset to get rid of this player. I handed you this one.
Yeah, we're talking Brian Bickle, aren't we? Yeah,
Oh
we are
yeah.
talking Brian Bickle.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I guess so. See, Brian Bickle, when I think Brian Bickle, I'm thinking, didn't he have to quit because of like health issues?
Yes, but he also had to be a healthy scratch and fourth liner in Carolina while being paid like $4 million when that was a lot of
Okay.
money.
Yeah. I know that the contract he was given after those playoffs where like 2013, right? He was good.
Hmm.
The shortened season because he scored in that game 6 against Boston in the final.
Think about another player that scored against Boston in the finals.
Dude, are we talking Dave Bolland right now?
He never lived up to that contract.
Oh, dude, that seems harsh for Dave Bolland
Okay,
though.
I won't let you go, Dave Bolin, but what about David Clarkson, who had a fantastic playoffs for that Devils team after having
They,
a great season and
thir-
then signs
30
with the Leafs.
goals.
Yep.
30 goals that season.
And he was a beast in the playoffs.
Yeah,
Then what did he do? He goes and signs in Toronto. There is a player. Can you
it did
tell me that
not.
Barclay Goodrow is worth the money he's getting paid right now? But he was sure worth it when he was $1 million third liner or fourth liner.
Yeah. Did Connor Sherry ever end up in this category after the Pittsburgh Cups?
I want to say Buffalo was paying him $4 million a year.
Yeah, yeah. I think we gotta include him. Justin Schultz came to mind, but I think that would be hard.
Nah,
That would be hard
nah,
on Justin Schultz.
nah.
Yeah,
He was very good for a long time. So
yeah.
that begs the question: who's next? Who's going to be the next player who is vastly overpaid because they were a great fourth liner? My best guess, not a fourth liner, but Anthony Beauvillier, if the Caps win, is going to be making like 5 million a year, and he's not going to be worth that to the team that pays him.
Would I be wrong to say Villy Leno?
You're not wrong at all. That's a
No,
perfect one.
yeah, I remember him getting paid a lot by Buffalo, but I couldn't remember if it was after like he was crazy for a playoffs or just had a couple good years.
All right, Aiden, I've got one more question for you, and this one I have to give you a little bit of background. For some of our younger listeners, and maybe our listeners who aren't as hockey mad in the nerd sense, some may not know who Claude Lemieux is. Claude Lemieux is one of the pestiest and most talented total packages the NHL playoffs have ever seen. He started his career in 1983 with the Montreal Canadiens and ended up winning 4 Stanley Cups, one of them winning the Conn Smythe Trophy. The guy was absolutely incredible. Wasn't always the best during the regular season. I mean, his best regular season, he had 81 points. I believe he was only over a point per game one other time. No, that was his only time as a point per game player in the regular season. But when it came to the playoffs, the guy was on another level. Close to a point per game almost every year. But I mean, other than a couple that really brought the points per game down, he had 158 points. That was 80 goals and 78 assists in 234 games. Those 80 goals were just packed and packed with game winners. The guy would draw penalties, injure guys, antagonize the other team, players, and coaches. He was just a complete mess to deal with. His son, Brendan Lemieux, is one that you might remember recently. He was basically like if Brendan Lemieux and Mike Camilleri were mixed together. It was disgusting. He weighed about 6'1", 220 pounds at his peak, and he threw that frame around big time. So, Aiden, he won 4 Stanley Cups in his career.
Okay.
I would like you to hazard a guess at what teams he won those Stanley Cups with. And you get a bonus point if you can name the order correctly.
Okay. You know what? I can give you the teams for
Yep.
sure. No shot I can give you the order. And definitely no shot I can give you the like I think I'm dropping 3 teams for 4 cups and I know which 3 teams there are, but I'm not sure which team he won multiple Stanley Cups with. My
Okay.
gut says he won multiple cups in Colorado, and my gut says that because just as a an additive to this question, if you are also, yeah, like Claude Lemieux played in the 90s for the most part. I wasn't alive in the 90s.
Yeah, his NHL career went from 1983 to 2003.
Yeah. Um, but the reason that I know this guy is because the lore of Colorado Detroit 90s rivalry is awesome. And if you're looking to like just even have random hockey stuff on in the background, having somebody talk about the rivalry in the 90s between Colorado and Detroit is amazing. They hated each other so much and those playoff series were as intense as they ever as playoff series have ever been. Claude Lemieux was right at the center of those. So I'm going to say he won two of his Stanley Cups in Colorado. I am quite sure New Jersey picked him up as a rental for him to win the cup with them after Colorado. So I think it was two in Colorado, then Jersey. But his first one, he was a Montreal draft pick, and he was a Montreal draft pick like early enough. You just said 83 was the start of his career. So he would have been on like one of those Montreal teams, I think for sure, that won a Stanley Cup. So I'm going one Montreal, one Jersey, two Colorado. But
You're wrong about everything other than the Montreal one. Like you had the right teams, but like
okay.
the order, the order after Montreal is wrong. But pretty good, pretty good. I love that you know the lore behind them. It is very fun. I believe there is an ESPN 30 for 30 that
That sounds right.
focuses very hard on that Avalanche and Red Wings rivalry. It is bloody, it is disgusting, it is awesome, and it's what makes hockey hockey at that point in time. Yes, he won his first Stanley Cup in 85, 86 with Montreal. He would spend another 5 years with them. Then he goes to New Jersey in 1990, stays with them until winning a cup and Conn Smythe in 95. And then for the 95-96 season, the inaugural Avalanche season, he makes his way over to Denver, wins that cup with them as well, stays in Colorado for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 seasons, heads back to Jersey, wins the cup with them in 99 2000. Plays a few seasons in Phoenix, one in Dallas, and then a few game cup of coffee, which is crazy to me. I'm just noticing this. Aiden, he had last played in the NHL in 02-03. Then he played 7 games a year later in Switzerland.
Mm-hmm.
Then in 08-09, 5 years later, suits up 23 games for the Worcester Sharks and then signs a pro contract to play 18 games with San Jose.
I almost remember that.
I don't. He got into one playoff game with them.
Good for him.
I love that.
Me too.
He was well into his 40s and was just like, you know what, let's just give it a go. Why not? See if the legs still work. And clearly they did because he played 18 games. Yes, Aiden, throughout the rest of the Stanley Cup playoffs, every episode we got for you guys, we will give you some playoff themed trivia from here on out. I've been lacking on the trivia heavily, and I wanted to give you guys a little bit, one easy one and one real nerdy one because I know we've got some diehards here. But Aiden, do you have anything else to add?
Yeah, three things, and they're all quick. Ted Lindsay Award finalists Nikita Kucherov, Nathan McKinnon, and Cale Makar. This is the players who vote on who the most outstanding player in the NHL was. Those are your nominees. James, I'm not going to ask you for your winner because it's completely a player's award. So the media's opinion does not matter
They picked
whatsoever.
McKinnon last year, and they're going to pick him again.
Probably. Norris, Quinn Hughes, Cale Makar, and Zach Werenski, the three Norris finalists. We kind of expected this.
Dale
James
Makar is
Quinn,
going to win.
yeah, and you know what? Quinn Hughes is in third for me right now. I actually would go
Yeah.
Makar one and Werenski two, but all three of these guys are about as deserving finalists as we've seen. This is an excellent group. Finally, Vezina, Connor Hellebuck, Darcy Kemper, Andrei Vasilevsky have all been really good this season. I think it was a group of four, James, where Logan Thompson would have also been part of this group in terms of best goalies in the NHL this season. I don't know if you how much you agree. Hellebuck's going to win it, but again, Vasilevsky and Kemper and Thompson, to be quite honest, all deserve the flowers for the season they had. But Hellebuck went 47, 12, and 3. 2.00 goals against and a 925 save percentage. Those are crazy numbers.
Hasn't
He's going
mattered this
to,
playoffs.
yeah, he is going to win the trophy because the trophy is a regular season only award. So that's it, James. Let's do it. Let's sign off.
Well, guys, it's getting hot out. Put a lemon in your water, you filthy animals. Without further ado, let's roll it out, Joe. Thanks, guys.